What's up, guys? Coach Ben podcast here on the Jiu-Jitsu Mag podcast network. I'm here with a special guest. Jim, bring him in, please.
Gladly, Ben. Thank you very much. This morning, we get to chat with Jersey native, Jersey's very own, Professor Tom DeBlass. Good morning, Tom.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Hey, Tom.
We're doing great. Thanks for joining us. And today's topic is addressing why there are so many haters in the jiu-jitsu community specifically, and maybe give a little insight on how to deal with them, because Lord knows, man, we see your wars online, and yet you do get quite a few haters from time to time. But before we get into that, your protege, Gary Tonin, just had a fight. What are your thoughts on that? You didn't get a chance to corner him on this outing.
No, I mean, he did phenomenal. It was a 3-round decision, which is good. I think he needed to get that experience of being in the long fight, and it was a good fight, man. I think he dominated the entire fight. It was basically where he wanted it to be. I don't think the guy was able to throw any punches. I think the guy made a huge mistake throwing kicks. I was so confused why his corner would tell him to keep throwing kicks when Gary kept repeatedly catching the kick. But I mean, with a smart fighter like Gary, when you make a mistake like that, you're going to pay, So Gary was able to catch a lot of his kicks. He was able to just get off a good double. And then when they were on their feet, I felt controlled the distance and the pace. And I think he did very well. And actually, in the same weekend, I had a student, a purple belt. This last month, he has 100% submission rate in the Nogi Pan American Games, and then the American Nationals. Submitted 5 out of 5 opponents under a minute and a half every single opponent. So we got these Jersey kids are cracking, man. They're doing good.
Wow. Tom, I want to ask you, actually, it was just a comment I wanted to make, and I always thought it was very cool that whenever I saw Gary compete, at least in pure grappling, right, I always saw like elements of your game in his jiu-jitsu. And that, even though I think he hasn't trained with you full time in a while, I still remember seeing things that, I would see in your instructionals in his games, like deep half, stuff like that, some back takes, some of the Z guard stuff. And, I just wanted to say it was really cool to see that, as his instructor, he's still using elements that I'm pretty certain you taught him, right? I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, like when you're a Tom DeBlass student, you're for sure going to know the half guard well, right? And I think it's just something that I embed in my students from a very, very early level, that they just get so used to doing it, it becomes second nature for them. I believe half guard is a very, very important guard. I really do. I mean, it's proven, right? We've had great success using the half guard. And, there's some people out there I hear they don't like it, or they think it's not a good guard. But I mean, if you look at the success that our team has had from using it, and other high level guys have had from using it, I mean, it's an imperative guard to have, because it's in between close guard and side control. All right. So people on their way to passing you generally stop at the half guard, and you have to be pretty versed in that position.
Yeah, people, nowadays, some of the younger jiu-jitsu generation, I think they try to avoid the half guard. They don't want to be there, and they don't want to be stuck there. So they kind of, if you put them there, they're done, and then they don't have any good attacks from there. That's at least from what I've seen in the newer generation. They prefer the distance management as opposed to the half guard game. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're jumpy. They move around a lot. They're all over the place. Got to slow them down.
All right. Hey, Tom. So I wanted to talk to you. Obviously, Jim already brought in the topic, but first of all, I have a lot of respect for you, because you are somebody who has, you're kind of an older competitor, right? You're not full-time competing anymore. You've already done it. You've done it all. You've done the UFC. You've done ADCC. You've done gi, no gi, and so now I have a lot of respect for people who can build a brand and go kind of outside of jiu-jitsu a little bit. So you're kind of, I would say you're like almost like a motivational speaker, a philosopher now, right? So what happens when people start speaking their mind in any topic? jiu-jitsu doesn't matter. It could be anything, is you get a lot of pushback. You get a lot of haters. You get people who want to put you down, chop you down. Why do you think you get so many haters? Because you get an disproportional amount, I think.
I think I do. I think Gordon does. I mean, Gordon, I could see why Gordon would, though.
Yeah,
For
you shouldn't. He invites it.
I mean, I don't mind it, because I will tell you this: like, the month where I got the most hate was when we trained during the pandemic, a very small group, which every high-level jiu-jitsu guy was doing. They were just lying about it.
100%.
I got so much hate that month, and my DVD sold like $70,000 that month, right? So it's like, I mean, hate all you want. Like, it didn't bother me that month, because I looked at what I build and I was like, holy smokes, man. Like, I don't know if they're just like hating and running to BJJ Fanatics and purchasing stuff or what. I don't really know what's happening. Like, I'll show him, boom, But I think I am very outspoken, and I think I speak with intellect. Like, as much as people in the jiu-jitsu world want to tell me, stick to jiu-jitsu, like, you're stupid. Like, I'm clearly not a stupid guy, right? Like, I'm a college graduate. I have multiple sources of income. There's guys who have won much more than I have won that literally can't book a seminar to save their life, right? If I say I'm going anywhere, the seminar is going to be sold out within, 2 hours. So I managed to, turn my, will make myself of value, I guess. And I think sometimes people want you to agree with them, and when I say things that people don't agree with, it frustrates them and they get upset, they get angry, and they're entitled to. They can get angry, they can get upset. I talk about suffering a lot. I talk about, the things I've been through, and I've been through a lot, man. So people could say what they want, but I don't know if they would be saying it if they've seen my life, if they've lived my life, and if they've gone through the things that I've gone through and have overcome the things that I've overcome, which has been a lot. And I think for me, it's just important to show people, like, I was nothing special. I was able to overcome and succeed. And if you're a jiu-jitsu guy or a jiu-jitsu girl, I don't think my life is a bad life to have, right? Like, it's a good life to aspire to have. Like, I live off jiu-jitsu, and I live damn well off it. And I don't know. I think sometimes it's entertainment. Sometimes it's lighthearted. I laugh at a lot of it. Somebody just drew a lion of me the other day that was hilarious. It was like my face. He looked like the Wizard of Oz lion, and it was my face, and it was like a lion, and they were busting balls. But it's like, man, this guy took his time out of his day to do this painting.
I think I've seen that, actually. I think it's like a pretty popular meme. But yeah, I think you're right. A lot of it, that's something that, I don't get any haters. Maybe once a month. So I haven't, reached your level. Obviously, Jim maybe has, because he has the magazine. But I just want to make it really, really clear for the listeners why we're talking about this. And one of the reasons I haven't even talked to Jim about this, one of the reasons that I want to bring this up and talk about, it's not to, shine light on, others haters in jiu-jitsu, whatever. I actually think one of my theories is that there are a lot of very intelligent, smart voices in jiu-jitsu that maybe they don't have the balls to speak up, because they see all of these haters, hating on people who are trying to take risks, like yourself. You're out there putting your thoughts out, and people are, it's not, and we shouldn't say it's all hate. I would say it's overwhelmingly positive, but there is a small group of people that hate. And I think that small group of trolls or people that want to spread negativity, they will silence, another group of people who see that and they don't want to, be involved. They're scared. They don't want to, I shouldn't say what I mean, because, I don't want to get those haters. And I feel it's important that you mentioned, hey, those haters actually helped you. You made money. It was a good thing.
Yeah, I don't mind them at all. Like I laugh, you know, it's really no big deal to me. And the thing is, I could not live as a coward either. Like I can never be afraid to say something because I'm afraid what the masses will say. I've been wrong in the past. I've made mistakes in the past. I own up to it. But like, you know, I got to tell you something, man. Every grappling competition I go to, I can't walk 50 feet without people stopping me for a picture. I've never seen, I've been at the same events with Buchecha, with Galvao, with everybody, with Cyborg. I don't see anybody getting stopped the way I'm getting stopped. And people notice it. But I don't have anyone stop me being like, hey, man, I hate you. You're a jerk off. It's overwhelmingly positive and love and, you know, and I'm very thankful for it. And I ask myself sometimes, I wonder if any of these people stop me for the pictures, if they're the ones behind the fake screen name talking that shit. And if they are, it's fine, man. They're entitled to. You got to understand when you become more than your sport, right? Like I just don't teach half guard stuff. I speak about a lot of things. So you're welcoming more people to voice their opinion, and we need them to. The more they talk, the more my engagement goes up, right? And that's a good thing. Like I don't mind if you're talking about me. Like you're a grown man thinking enough to start a post about me, to talk about me. Like I'm in your head somewhere, and I don't mind being there. You know what I mean? I do wish that more people could understand that I do mean well, you know, and I really am. My heart is a good heart. Like I don't write the things I do for people, you know, and the nice things I've done. I don't talk about that really, you know. But there's a lot. There's a lot, and you know, people they like to just focus on the negative sometimes, and I don't know if it makes them feel better or as a man, I could never get behind the computer and hide my face and talk shit. I just couldn't do that. I would feel weird.
I don't think you
Uh,
have time. You don't have time,
ah,
and you have too much accountability, right? If
yeah,
you do that, then you can't do you, right? How could you do what you're doing?
it would just feel very weird. Also, like I would feel cowardly. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to look at myself. Anything I have to say, I'll say it to the person. Like I'll never. And I don't have any problems with nobody right now. You know, I don't have
Yeah.
anything really to say bad, but if I did have anything to say, I would definitely speak up and say it to the person right to their face or let them know who I was. And I've done that numerous times. You know, the whole Keenan situation where the whole hate started with the training. I messaged Keenan directly. I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like what's happening right now? Like, why did you talk that shit when I know you're training? I know for a fact you're training, you know? So I didn't go make a post about it. I messaged him directly, you know, and that's just how I am, you know.
And
Yeah.
you know,
Jim, go
wait,
ahead.
oh yeah. So I mean, it seems like cyber rules and personal rules are there's a lot of overlap, and that's one of them. I mean, so directly messaging someone on the side can actually clear away a lot of misunderstandings. And what has been your experiences in the times that you have done that? Is it usually positive, or some people they're just in their own heads and there's no getting to them? You know?
Yes. Some people like there hasn't been any high level guys that I wasn't able to come to an agreement with, but someone just like the trolls, if you like they say something totally outlandish and you DM them like, hey, listen, you're totally wrong. Like this didn't happen. There's just no getting through some of them, like zero, you know. People hear what they want to hear. It's funny, like I saw people the other day like talking like, "Oh, has Tom ever been in an exciting match?" People want to talk about Tom at 38 years old, right? I was winning ADCC trials and Pan American Games and World Championships over a decade ago. You know what I mean? Like I've been doing this a long time. You know, if I went in and I was like, "Hey, listen, I I, I won the trials 3 times. I won 2 world titles. I won 2 Pan American Games." You're not going to win with these people. You got to let them just talk their shit. There's no talking. You
There's
know
no
what I mean? To
point.
some people, there's no point, and it really doesn't matter because when push comes to shove, if they want to learn a half guard, who are you going to go to? You're going to go to a guy who's never had his guard passed, right? They're my the proof is there. I have hundreds and hundreds of people writing me and telling me and writing like their entire game has changed from my instructionals. They won competitions for my instructionals. I have students out there crushing it and killing it and just, not getting a point scored upon them. So, I try to look more at the positive things than the negative things, because no matter who the person is, people are going to talk shit. I mean, there's still people out there saying Conor McGregor is trash, right? No, he's not trash, guys. He wins, and he wins all the time. He's had some losses, but the guy is a stud, and he knows how to win, and he hits really hard. But people won't say that because people have trouble being nice sometimes, and I don't know why. It's a weird thing to me. It's an anomaly. It doesn't make too much sense.
I think, Tom, there's an issue, and I can see this with the political climate and COVID and things, where people have a problem having two thoughts in their head, right? So if somebody is good, like if you're a good person, then you're pure in every way, and everything you do must be in line with what I think is pure. And if you do one thing that is even remotely outside of what I think is pure, then you're garbage. I think that's a problem. That happens all the time. And I think, the Conor example is perfect. And you can use that for Gordon. You can use that for anybody that's at the top of the game. Let's just use Conor. You can't not respect the guy for doing what he's done. If you don't respect him for doing what he's done, then you really have no ambition, in my opinion. There are things that he's done that I don't agree with. That's fine. No big deal. I don't agree with things that Jim has done. He doesn't agree with me sometimes. We're still great friends, and so people, I think, have that problem. They see you and they see, you do this great stuff for the community. And the second you have a training session during the pandemic behind closed doors, it's, all the goodwill you've built up over the years, it means nothing. And it doesn't really mean nothing. It just that in that moment, a horde of people who have been bottling this hate up, it just wants to spread it. And that is it.
It's funny you say that, because lately, I don't have time right now to train, to compete at the level I'm at, right? Because I have to put my focus on my students. Like I have some kids in the room right now. They could place in the next ADCC. They're very, very talented.
Wow.
And my whole legacy has been, listen, I really don't get scored on. I'm very hard to submit. I've been submitted 2 times over 2 decades, and I've given up less than 12 points, right, in 20 years. So what happens if I do go out there and someone passes my guard or catches a leg or gets a rear naked choke? Could you imagine? The internet would break. Like, it would be so insane, the shit that people would talk. Yet it happens all the time to the highest level guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens to guys that are much better than me. Right. It happens to guys like Kynan just got heel hooked by Cyborg. Right. No one's really saying anything about it. No one cares. Right. But it's like, if anything happens to like the guys from Jersey, people won't let the world forget. And it's pretty insane. I have this one guy, speaking about haters, you can't have 2 different opinions. I don't know how many times I've said, I believe the virus is real, yet I believe people need to work to support their families. Like, I want everybody in your family to live, everybody in my family to live, but I want to feed my kids, right? That's what it comes down to. This one guy, he won't leave me alone. He tags me in like all these articles about death rates, people dying. And I'm like, bro, you're a psychopath. Like, why are you stalking? Why is converting me and changing my mind so important to you? You're never going to change my mind. I'm always going to think we need to run our business safely, take precaution, but run your business. We have to do what we have to do. For some people, it's like, they have no compassion or care if small businesses fail, if people lose their homes, if they lose everything, if they commit suicide. But if you happen to die from COVID, oh my God, right. And I just have it. I don't understand why people, but this also shows me how easy it is to be successful in this world, right? How easy it is to put a thought in someone's head and to keep it there. And this is how I'm looking at this pandemic. It's a very, very sad thing altogether. But when this passes, people are very, very easily manipulated.
Yep.
Now if you can manipulate them in a positive way, which I've always done with my students. Gary will tell you, I brainwashed him from the beginning to make him believe that he's the best thing that ever.
I like to call that persuasion, Tom. It's not manipulation. You're persuading, because persuading is a good thing, right? I think it's good.
It is. But even when we use the word manipulation, I know that's the negative connotation, but I look at it differently, because ultimately manipulation is making people believe something that you want them to believe, right? Even if it's not necessarily true. So before my students are really at the level that they're at, I make them believe they're at a higher level than they are. But the tricky part is making them train like they're not in a high level yet. So making them train like they need to get to a certain level while they already believe they're at that certain level. That's hard to do, right? But it's easier than people think. And I think after all this madness in 2020, people could really see, like, wow, it's not that hard to convince people of certain things.
Tom, we like to be very blunt and honest and very, I want to say, kind of vulnerable even in the podcast. And I'm just going to put it bluntly. There's a lot of stupid people out there that'll fall for anything. And so if you, to an entrepreneur like me, you, Jim, we're entrepreneurs, I see that as a huge positive, because that's like, man, if there's all these people that are kind of, they're I'm just going to be honest, they're dumb, then it makes life easier for the rest of us who can at least hold two thoughts in our head. If we can hold two thoughts, we're stronger than the person that can hold one thought. So then we can probably find more success. And that is super positive to me.
It is. Like I saw the other day, there was an article about Ohio wrestlers. They're allowed to wrestle, but they can't shake hands. What? Like there's people in the band, they're playing the instruments. There's a hole cut out in their mask that they're playing the instruments.
I saw that.
This is the crazy world we're living in, that people think that this is normal. Like, it's just very, very confusing. I almost feel, you ever see the Truman Show?
Yes.
I almost feel like I'm in the Truman. Like, this is a big joke. This is a big joke on top.
Simulation. Simulation.
Yeah. 2020 is given much credence to the whole idea of simulation theory. That's
so me and Jim are in California, right? So California is like the meme king of COVID, because we have we have leaders who literally the day of making a mandate or an order will defy the order the same day. And just there, I don't want to blame a specific person, because I think this thing kind of just moves uniformly. It just gets out of control. But yeah, there's like, I'll give you our situation. I want your thoughts on this, Tom, if you could please. I have a gym, in Arcadia, California. It's a small academy, compared to your, I would say you have probably 1,000 members, right? I got like 100 members at my capacity. We're just a small little group, and we cannot technically open indoors, right? But we can open outdoors with masks on 6 feet apart, right? That is just our mandate. At the same location, basically, we have physical therapy studios and chiropractic offices that don't have to do any kind of social distancing. They just have to wear a mask. There's massage. You can do massage, but you can't do jiu-jitsu, and that's the kind of stuff where if you have no ability to hold two thoughts in your head and you can't think, hey, look, small businesses, people can die from losing their life's work. They commit suicide. There's different things here.
Correct.
And
that's
then
what people don't get.
They don't get it. I don't understand. Why is that so hard to understand? And when you bring these things up, I noticed recently you had to stop because it was the social media is now trying to censor you. So that's something that I just don't understand. And that, it makes me happy that I'm not in that trap, but also it makes me sad that I have to, I can't make people see the light there.
Well, I don't understand the hypocrisy. It's maddening. I've never liked hypocrites, and this just drives me insane. And as far as my social media, some people thought I was just saying I'm shadow banned. No, what happened was you had to type in my entire name on my Instagram for my name to show up forever. Now you could type in by the time you get to like, oh, where it comes up. But still, I'm getting hundreds of DMs, people telling me you're just not showing up on my feed. I found out for a fact from the Facebook CEO of Asia, he knows somebody that I know, that my Instagram and my Facebook were on schedule to be deleted, totally deleted. And I there's no reason why. There's a few things that I've done that I've spoken out against, that I have an idea like why I was scheduled to be deleted. But now I'm still, Facebook is back to normal, but my Instagram is still heavily censored. You know, in a way, I think it was good because I was losing my shit a little bit. You know, you can't convince people of something they don't want to believe, right? So I still put stuff out there about the closings and stuff like that, but I'm not alienating anyone because, you know, there is people who have had family members die from this, right? So let's say I'm putting out there like, oh, like I don't want to undermine the virus and make it seem like it's not real, right? But what I am trying to make it seem like is my life and my livelihood is just as important as anyone else's, right? Yours is just as important as anyone else's. So if you can't feed your kids, we're running your business, but yet massage is okay when it's body-to-body contact. Some reason, for somehow, that's okay. The virus knows to stop, right? In New Jersey, they put the word out, you cannot have Thanksgiving with anyone besides your immediate family. The next day on Black Friday, the stores were overflowing, you know, and it's like, I never thought people would be so gullible.
The hypocrisy, yeah.
The hypocrisy is just maddening, you know, and I think sometimes, you know, these people who claim to be so liberal in their beliefs and their thoughts, and I'm not a political guy. Like a lot of people thought that I was pro-Trump. No, I thought Trump was a moron. I think I don't like politicians, you know what I mean? But I did have to side with the side that was wanted me to run my business and not kill me, right? Every Republican state was allowing their people to run their business and make their means of living. The Democratic states were not allowing that. So I was like, man, like what happens if we're just all Democratic? Like, are small businesses just going to fail forever? Like, it's so easy for them just to say stop. And when you speak out against them, the hate that these people that are supposed to be liberal with their thoughts and their beliefs, they're vicious, man. It's crazy. The things that they could come on and say. But if you say it to them, oh, it's the end of the world. You know, it's the end of the world.
It's a double standard.
It's you know, and a lot of things. I've gotten a lot of hate too because I've lashed out against haters and I've said some wild shit. And I do so unemotional. I do so when I'm laughing. But the things I've said, people have screenshotted and posted without telling why I said it. So it just makes it seem like I said it for no reason.
Lack of context.
Right. And I also think it's important that, let's just say you had a moment of, you know, just something just snapped. All right. We have these moments, right? And that's fine. And that's one of these things where I can't stand the idea that, you know, let's say in a 10-year career, you've done all these positive things, and then we look past all those positive things in this one moment of, you know, weakness or one moment of just insanity. We've all had it. I've had it. I have it every probably month, you know, but because you're a public figure, that's something that can be screenshotted and it's like, oh, taken out of context. Look at this evil person. Check this dude out. You know, he's a terrible dude. And that's, you know, that's not fair. And I think that there's no punishment for that kind of thing, but I think that kind of stuff in the future should be punishable. You know, that's slanderous. You know, that's a way to ruin somebody.
It's so cowardly. It's, for me, it's like I always say, like, these dudes won't even let their identity be shown. They won't even they don't want anyone to know who they are. So imagine how someone like me would feel, right? That is just getting thrashed at times. But imagine if it were them, how they would deal with it, which I really don't. Like I said, I'm used to it. I don't care. It's whatever. I laugh at most of this shit now.
And you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt, Tom, but you know what I've noticed about people that just kind of they pull the pin and drop those grenades on threads. When you always go to look into who that person is and maybe even get a better understanding why they may think the way they do, it's always a private account or it's just straight out fake. 9 times out of 10, right?
Yep. I've had one guy that was open in his account that hated on me. And I respected him for it. One guy over all these years. But like I said, all the competitions I go to, people want pictures, people want to talk, people want to be kind. And, you know, we do need, I think we need haters to an extent to keep things interesting and to keep things funny. But I just think people should be, they need to understand, like, you know, like, too much is too much, right? For me, I haven't gotten to that point to where I felt it was overwhelmingly too much for me because I have thick skin. And the things I've been through in life you're not going to bother me by talking shit online. The only thing that would bother me if it was lies, you know, which sometimes they're lies, but they're not lies that can like really harm me, right? It's not lies like people are lying saying I did something when I didn't do it. That kind of shit to me is like, man, that's crazy. But
that's a scary monster. But you know, rounding into, okay, we've identified there are haters, and let's talk about some of the ways you've handled it. Have you ever found yourself at a maybe at a bad day, like Ben was bringing up, and then do you ever find a day where you self-impose timeout? Like, you know what, I need to step away, I need to separate because this is getting a little too out of hand. Either people are getting hurt that by what I said, or they're really starting to annoy me to where I want to say something I don't really want to say. So how do you deal with some of this?
I got to tell you, I honestly haven't gotten really mad because I'm not going to allow myself to get upset if I can't do anything about it. And I know I can't do anything about it. The one time I got upset is when a couple of dudes were ripping my DVDs and they were illegally selling my DVDs. That pissed me off. You know, that made me upset because they're taking money out of my pocket, you know. But other than that, I mean, there's times I've put the phone down and it has been more peaceful lately because I haven't been going back at anyone. People always have something to say. Like yesterday I posted on my Instagram, a cop handled the situation very good. You know, he was able to control the person and, you know, no one got hurt. And someone comes out, oh no, he should have tased that person because he got close and that person could have grabbed his gun. Like, I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to argue. Like, I was just saying props to the cop. You know, it's like everything doesn't have to be an argument with depth, and everybody's so woke nowadays, right? Everybody's so smart. Yeah, come on, man, just leave me alone. You know, like I think it got to a point where I realized there's literally no hope in changing certain people's opinions. There's just not until it happens to them or until they actually feel it. Like there was people out there that were literally thinking that it was okay to loot and burn down people's small business because they were saying that businesses are not as important as lives. Yet this was the people's lives whose businesses you were burning down. Like we saw it was like 10th Planet in California.
Long Beach, yeah.
Long Beach, right? Like what a disaster. How sad that is, you know? I wish people could just focus on the problem at hand and deal with the individual problem rather than spreading it like wildfire, which this happened here, so I'm gonna go attack this person. Or if anyone who thinks differently than me about any subject, they have to be the bad guy. It's like, you know, they're very small-minded. And you gotta ask yourself, people who there are certain people who troll and hate for amusement and fun. And there's certain people who truly get emotional with it. And you got to ask, what is going on in their life? Like, who are they behind the private account? Are they happy? Are they in a good relationship? Are they thriving? Are they successful? Or are they going to a job they absolutely hate every day? Do they hate themselves? You know, and if they do, that's sad. I just wish that they could understand there's a better way to make yourself feel better than putting other people down. You know, and then people will say to me, oh, well, look what Gordon does. I am not Gordon's keeper. I cannot control Gordon. He's a grown man, the best in the world, making a ton of money. I don't agree with everything he does at all. Okay. And I have personal conversations with him about how I don't agree with it. But that doesn't mean I can change him. And that doesn't mean I need to denounce him because I don't agree with everything that he does. I don't need to cut ties with him totally because I don't agree with everything he does, because I know the good sides of him, you know, and I known him since he was a kid. And it's like the same people who are hating on him, if you look at some of the hurtful things they're saying about other people, it's like you're kind of not that different. The only difference is Gordon has a louder voice than you, but you're still hating on people, you know?
Yeah, I generally just I try to just think in my head, right? You know, this person probably is going through a lot of pain, and you know, but selfishly for myself, I'm like, if I spend this time to try to educate this person who, like you said, won't change their mind anyway, they need to see what they need to see to change their mind, and I can't make them see that. I'm taking away time from myself, from my business, from my family, from my students, and to work on myself, you know. And I think there's like a lot of victim mentality there, you know, where people they find distractions to not do the work they need to do. Honestly, who needs to go on the internet and hate, right? I have 100 things on my to-do list for this week. What, that's not part, is that in your to-do list? Is that part of your, you know, daily routine to go online and hate? Like, I don't understand. How do you have that much time? But Tom, so do we have you for another 5 minutes?
Yeah. One thing I want to comment on too about haters is, one guy, I saw my message requests. I get hundreds, and I saw he was like, "Hey man, have you ever dealt with an injury?" And I didn't answer. I didn't see it. He's like, "Hey bud, just checking in. How do you come back from an ACL injury?" And then the next was like, "Go fuck yourself, pussy," because I didn't answer him, right? So it went from like, "Hey bud, give me some advice," to "Go die because you didn't answer me." So how many haters are people that feel that you've somehow slighted them when you don't mean to do so?
Yeah, it's, you never know who you're dealing with. Somebody could have just not agreed with something, you know, 3 years ago you said in an interview, and then they decide today is the day they're going to go on your Facebook and find that one thing they don't agree with and just rail you for it. All right, Tom, you brought up something that you know, you talked about Gordon. You know, we know, we kind of, I think all of jiu-jitsu kind of knows you and your team, because you guys are kind of like just there. You know, you guys are winning things. You're well known. You're outspoken. This is kind of off topic, but I wanted to make sure I asked you this. What is your definition of loyalty?
Loyalty has to go both ways, right? Like you can't expect loyalty blindly without giving yourself to somebody. Like, so for instance, with like what I do with my students, right? Like, I don't talk about it. Like, my young competitors, if they're flying to California to compete, I'll help them financially get there. You know, I'll give them some money. Maybe I'll pay for a flight if they need it. But, you know, I'm literally going there if I can, paying my own flight, paying my own hotel. When I was coming up through the ranks, I would pay for my teacher to go, because if he's going to go corner me, I would pay for him to be there, right? So when I do stuff like this for my students, and I'm there for them, and if they need anything, I'm there for them, and I'm giving them private lessons for free, that's me showing them my loyalty. And I just expect the same in return. And what I expect most of all from loyalty is conversation. Talk to me. If you feel something, you don't agree with something, come and talk to me. Don't go behind my back. We're not going to agree on everything, but talk to me. You know, if my students go out of state or whatever, if they want to train somewhere, go train. I don't care. People all the time drop into my academy. It's not a big deal to me. I've never dealt with the local student wanting to train. I've never dealt with one of my own personal students wanting to train in another school close to me just because they get the best training with me. So I've never dealt with that before. But I think loyalty is just people trying to understand the other person and going out to doing their best for that person, right? I do my best for my students day in and day out. And people who really know me, You know, they might laugh at some of the shit that I post about the lion memes, this and that. I'm a dude to have on your side. Like, trust me. Trust me. Like, there's jujitsu and then there's the real world. I'm a guy to have on your side. And the guys in my corner are also guys to have in your corner. If the shit hits the fan, you want us. Trust me. I promise you, right? So I never speak out of context that where it's not true. I never say anything that's false. You know, I'll say right now, there's dudes out there, you know, if you put me in the middle of the woods with nothing, I'm going to die quick, right? If you lock me in a room with another man, I'm going to live, right? So it's like, it all depends what we're getting into, you know? But here's the thing. I got guys that if you throw me in the woods alone, they're going to be able to come save me and kill whatever is trying to kill me first, right? And I think that's important with loyalty because you learn to make friends and learn to have people love you when you love people that you can't do it all alone. You can't do it all alone. You can't. And you have people so loyal to you to where you're lacking, they're picking up, right? If they're lacking, you're picking up. And that's what loyalty is. It's not a pissing contest, but it's understanding that we're all in this together and we're all doing the best we could for one another. And I think that's why I have so many damn loyal people like in my corner. And even my fans, like we're talking a lot about haters. I don't know anybody that gets, you know, I think I get a lot of haters too because I get so many people that love me. And I think these people don't understand why so many people love me, right? There's like a whole big Tom DeBlass, like people love me, man. But they don't love me for my jiu-jitsu. They love me because maybe I helped them through something, you know, emotional. Maybe I spoke to them on a DM. Maybe the same person one person I didn't see their DM, for every one person I didn't see, there's a person I did see and I answered. So we can only do our best. And that's one thing that I've come to understand, like, you know, with the haters with this, I could only give my best. I'm only human. And one thing I always remember, and I always tell myself, and it makes me feel better, whether you believe that he was the son of God or not, there was Jesus Christ. And he wasn't a bad dude, right? Jesus Christ himself was crucified. He was murdered. He was murdered. What do I think? How do I think that I'll go through life flawlessly without getting attacked when I'm a nobody? I'm a nothing compared to that guy, Jesus, right? And he himself got murdered. So listen, if I deal with some hate every now and then, it's par for the course. It's okay, no problem. I don't mind.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there, man.
It's a beautiful way to. Oh, hello.
Oh, hold on. There you go, Jim. You're back.
Yep, you did. Gotcha. So yeah, I was going to concur with what I heard with Ben. Is that's a very beautiful way to actually sum up all of this, and it goes back to the hashtag we use in all our social media posts. Know your, like, whether you're getting dropped off, may not always remember the words that you told to them or the words that were said, but they will always remember how you made them. And I think that's a good quote that sums up the whole idea of this topic. And I don't know if I still have everyone. My connection seems to be failing.
Yeah, Jim, you cut out, but I got the gist of what you were saying.
Yeah. People always remember how you make them feel.
100%. Exactly.
Right. And I think that's why you have so many followers and why people are so loyal to you, Tom. And then, you know, I could just say, personally speaking, you know, we had a chance to meet at the previous ADCC. And man, just off that one meeting is the reason why I have your number. And here we are. And, you know, you're in my thoughts now. And when Ben and I talk about these topics, I'm like, this guy, off of the small experience I had with him, and seeing online, I think he might have something valuable for this topic. And you didn't fail us. You didn't fail us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, truly.
So before we leave, you know, Ben mentioned it. You do have, you know, your half guard series, your Z guard series, and all this. Where can people find you to either get enraged or inspired by your social media posts, and to maybe purchase one of your to contribute to that $70,000 nut that you crack every
It's
month.
more than that, Jim. That's just one DVD, probably.
Yeah.
That was just 1 month. 1 month. That was the hating month. So hopefully they hate on me again very soon, so we can repeat that month. You can find me on Facebook, Tom DeBlass, on Instagram, Tom DeBlass. I have the link for my DVDs in my Instagram. Shout out to also my sponsor, Pitbull West Coast. They're a great sponsor, great gear. Get all your stuff.
Let's see that logo, Tom. Let's see that logo.
Let's see.
There we go. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Skull. Cool.
Oh,
Okay.
They have a lot of cool stuff, man.
And before we let you go, what is your role and what's your status in this whole Puerto Rico migration?
0. I'm just gonna sit back and watch the fun and what happens. I have no idea how it's gonna go. It seems like it could be a movie. I don't know if it's gonna go into an inspiring movie or more so like The Hangover, but we're gonna see, right? We're gonna. I mean,
you have Danaher, you have Tonin, you have Gordon and Nicky Rod and knives in Puerto Rico. What could go wrong? A whole bunch of knives.
There's nothing that could go wrong at all. It's totally normal.
That is a reality show waiting to happen for sure. All right.
Thank you, Tom. Really great to have you. Thanks for coming on. Get his DVDs. Follow him, Instagram, Facebook, and spread some love.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
it.
And
all the best to you, Tom. And thank you again, and look forward to the next time, my friend.
You guys as well. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right.